Y'all, are you serious right now? So I woke up to this. Well, actually, I didn't wake up to this. Somebody sent it to me and I had heard about it, but I didn't look it up. And I figured that people were just gossiping and talking, but they're not. These clowns started a GoFundMe for billboards in hopes that there's going to be a new trial. How many times do people have to tell you that Gypsy Rose Blanchard is not going to get a new trial? Nick Godejohn, there is a small chance he will get a new trial, but do you really think that the politicians in Missouri are going to allow that to happen? I've said it before, I'll say it again. The people that are behind this have a reputation of being a lot of things but not truthful. So those of you that are donating $300, $100, all this stuff for this, and then there's no billboards, don't come back and cry and say that you donated to this and you want to see the proof, because you all know already that that's not going to happen. And I still hear that there's these women out here that are still trying to communicate with Nick Godejohn, when again, Nick has stated numerous times he's not communicating with any of you guys. So what makes you guys think that people are going to believe you and you're going to get $13,000 out of people's pockets because you need something to pay your rent? Like, be for fucking real. Your guys' reputation is not in the stance where this is going to get media attention. The whole point is to get media attention. The whole point has always been to have people that are talking that are reputable, and you guys have screwed that the fuck up. So go and take a knitting class, read a book or two, and stop scamming people. Thanks. So I actually did research on this a while back, and I came back to it now because this comment was made. So the likelihood of her getting charged federally is almost 0%. The reason being is she pleaded guilty, for one. So she admitted the guilt. Now you can talk about the mailing of the weapon, which prosecutors were well aware of, and that information was given, so no federal charges were ever brought upon with that. Not to say it can't go back, but there is not a likelihood it will. Now, about her lying on the stand, again, that is something that, honestly, to put it bluntly, state prosecution doesn't give a shit about. She pled guilty, she served her time, and that's what they're looking at. And they're looking at her now, and what they see without looking in the nitty-gritty of what's going on online and what she's doing and her antics, because it's really not worth their time at this point. She's basically moved on with her life. So the bottom line of it is that there's almost a 0% chance of her ever getting charged federally or doing, any kind of state laws that were broken or anything like that. Like, this is the lowest of the totem pole for anything, especially considering that in Missouri, it was an election year when this happened. Now, the only way for her to, be in jail again or anything like that, which I agree she should be the same place where Nick is at, but in order for that to happen, she would have to reoffend. She would have to be criminally charged again for a completely different crime or, breaking the law in some way, shape, or form. Which, in my opinion, I see happening because she has no self-control, right? Now, does Nick possibly have a chance, and could that then, domino effect onto her? Possibly. But he's on his very last string of things until there's no other chance. So when you face the reality of that, does it make sense? Does it make sense? I understand that you want justice for Dee Dee, but in the eyes of the law, unfortunately, justice has already been served. And people that are yelling at each other and starting drama online aren't going to change lawmakers and people in the governor's offices and all this other stuff that people are talking to change their mind. Again, we put in reputation into it. I have always said, get the media involved. Once the media is involved, then the authorities will start to piece together some things. They may not be able to do anything, but at least other people, a wider audience with media, will understand what exactly has been happening this whole time. So, to each their own though. Go ahead, use your discretion, use your discernment, but I see it for what it is. So I'm gonna post this before people start getting on their lives, because it's around noon and that's what time all of these little gremlins wake up to start doing their rounds, and then they go on live and they start talking about people. I have them clocked in. So let me make it abundantly clear. In that video, I was talking about Naomi. Naomi is the person that is the starter of the GoFundMe and the head of the GoFundMe. Why didn't these other women decide to do it? That's beyond me, because if you're trusting Naomi, that's gonna be a hard lesson for you. Second, I do not appreciate people coming in my comments and saying, oh, well, why are you saying we're scamming people? I didn't specifically name you guys. And specifically, I want to point out Prison Princess and Mimi, who I have now blocked. So if you guys want to send this to them, go right ahead. I don't give a fuck. I did not mention your guys' names. You guys inserted yourselves into the conversation, which I wasn't even thinking about you guys to begin with. I know you guys have been talking about doing billboards, especially the one that was already done, the moving billboard. Cool, that's great, that's awesome for you guys. But don't think that everybody's talking about this whole group, because some of us don't have time to watch you guys on live or see replays or know exactly what's going on, including myself, because I don't insert myself into drama unless I see something that is like a red flag waving in front of everybody's face. So you're basically inserting your guys' selves into the conversation because you support this. When I wasn't even talking about you guys. I was talking about the person that is on the GoFundMe and whoever they associate with. And if that happens to be you, then maybe you should look in the mirror a little bit, because you're getting scammed by somebody. This has happened numerous times. You guys think that somebody has changed enough for it not to happen again? So again, I will take the accountability, and once that billboard goes up, I will make a video and say sorry. But until then, if that billboard never goes up and you guys donated all your money to them, that's on y'all. And I'm just warning you guys about that. This has been going on for a long time. First, it was a GoFundMe for a rally for Nick, and it was a GoFundMe for this and that and the other. Now it's a GoFundMe for a billboard. Next, it's gonna be a GoFundMe for another rally. Who knows? It's a pattern, okay? And at the end of the day, the people that are seeing the billboard, they're like, oh my God, who is behind this? Let's look at who's behind. And then they're gonna see all the antics that this whole entire group, if you're associated with them, do online on a day-to-day basis, especially on live. And they're gonna be like, these people are clowns. And not only that, once you put that billboard up, Gypsy has the upper hand. She can use it as defamation. And I'm not a Gypsy supporter. I'm just putting things out there the way I see them and the way things could go. Because I don't think you guys are thinking very clearly on this. And it's evident. That's why I've unfollowed so many people in this community that I once followed and once watched content on and once loved what they were doing in this community. Now it's just turned into a bunch of clowns. And again, if you find yourself in that clown category and you don't like me speaking out against it and you want to shove your opinion down my throat, you can remove yourself from my page or comment. I'll block you for you, okay? Because I ain't about all that, okay? So if the shoe fits, motherfucking wear it. I stand on what I said. All right, so for those of you that think that the whole Ivory Rose grows wild thing is like a one-off and is not a pattern in Gypsy and her friends' whole thing, it very much is. Let me introduce you guys to Kate Marie. So Kate Marie, last year, this time in July, thanks to our girl Lottie, this same thing happened to her. The same as with Ivory Rose. So a little info on Kate Marie. Kate Marie was a Munchausen syndrome by proxy survivor, she said. And a whole lot of fucking people believed her. she was going around saying that all of this stuff had happened to her and not Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And people were starting to believe it because, of course, Gypsy lies a lot. So people were starting to believe that this whole scenario was happening. Well, at the height of this whole thing, Kate Marie and Gypsy Rose Blanchard made up, became friends. Kate Marie posted a whole video saying how, yeah, she's friends and she's squashing the beef. And just imagine another person exactly doing what Ivory Rose Goes Wild is doing. Same thing, different person. At the time, she was going live a lot. And at that time, she modded Brie and all of her little friends, similar to what Ivory Rose Goes Wild was doing earlier today when she went live. And basically just yelling at everyone that's telling her, wow, you have these people as mods. Way not to be friends. Because if you guys are forgetting, she said in her video she wasn't friends with these people. She had just squashed the beef. Being invited to a end of parole party, plus being invited to somebody's birthday party, both very monumental events, shows that you are indeed friends with them. And when you are friends with people like that, your character and your reputation show through, just like I've been saying this whole time. So we can conclude this is yet another pattern for not only Gypsy, but Brie, who is obviously obsessed with Gypsy. I don't know why. I don't know if she wants to be her. I don't know if this friendship is like an obsession to her, that she just has to have some kind of validation from Gypsy at this point. But she is doing this again as a pattern. And Ivory Rose Goes Wild is not the first, and she won't be the last, I'm pretty sure. So who will be next? I'm gonna tell you right now, it won't be me. So have fun with that. All right, so I'm gonna talk about this because I've heard that there was lives and stuff. So if it's on a public platform and you're talking about it, I'm gonna talk about it too. It's been brought to my attention that the group of people, even though my video was directed only at the person that was running the GoFundMe, because again, I don't have time to know that all these people are now okay with Naomi. Like, birds of a feather, right? They find each other no matter what. Just my opinion. But other people have inserted themselves into it, and they've basically said that they've taken my videos and they're in their archive so they can sue me for defamation after the billboards go up. Okay, so first you have to send me a cease and desist, okay? First you have to find my first and my last name, the city and state I live in, and my address. Then after that cease and desist is sent, I have the opportunity to cease and desist if that's what I feel is going on, or if I agree with the cease and desist, which I didn't lose you any money. You guys already have a majority of the money for the billboard. You guys aren't content creators, not losing you money there. You guys still go on live and talk mad shit, so... And I'm just calling you a scammer, and I wasn't even calling you guys a scammer. I was calling Naomi, which she has in the past. She did a whole fundraiser for a rally for Nick. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know if you guys were even here, because a lot of these people seem like they have no idea who all these people are. But I mean, maybe that's a good excuse for you. But again, do you, boo-boo. Do what you think that you need to do, because I'm talking about something that's already on the internet, okay? Now, second of all, I have a lot of people in my comments questioning the price. So everybody's saying, you know, it's $7,000. And I do apologize. In my first video I posted, I said $12,000. I don't know where I got $12,000 from. I have no idea. But nonetheless, they're asking for $7,000 for the GoFundMe. So I was like, you know, and in the GoFundMe, there's no information. There's literally no information on where they're putting the billboard, what company they're using, how they're going about it, nothing. And you would think on a GoFundMe, you would have that information so the people that are donating could know where they can look for the billboard, because are they going to look for it in Missouri where the crime happened? Or is it in Louisiana where Gypsy's at? Nonetheless, I looked up billboards and the average cost of them. Now, if... to my understanding, they're wanting it to be a big billboard in a metropolitan area. Those can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Now, I'm assuming since they're, you know, well-organized women, sorry, they know where they're putting the billboard. Or does that come after everybody shoves out the $7,000 and then you just go ahead and buy a $3,000 one and pay all your guys' rent with the rest? Again, just my opinion and just an observation from an outsider considering who's running the GoFundMe, okay? But everybody's in my comments saying they're not trying to get a new trial, they're trying to get attention. Then why does the billboard on the top says, let's get Nick a new trial? Because that's not going to happen. Nick has the opportunity for clemency and a small chance of a new trial. But do you know, to get him a new trial, they would also have to bring in Gypsy Rose Blanchard because she was his co-defendant, regardless of her having a plea deal or not. And they're not trying to do that. That's the whole reason why all this stuff has fell through for Nick. They don't want to deal with Gypsy Rose Blanchard anymore. If you guys have that much faith in the justice system, in the federal government, and in local authorities and local governments and things like that, y'all must not be really into true crime. But Gypsy can be charged again for her crime. She pleaded guilty. She omitted guilt. And as bad as it is, and that the time she got in signing that plea deal, she did sign the plea deal. She did do her time. Now, again, I am not a Gypsy supporter, but that's just the facts laid out. Again, my goal has always been media attention. And the only way media is going to pay attention is if your reputation is better than Gypsy's. And a lot of these people that are in this little group doing this, their reputation is no better than Gypsy's, especially when they sit up on live for hours on end, yelling, screaming, cussing, threatening, maniacally planning how to get money from people every single night, okay? Like I said, this group should join a knitting circle. Point blank, period. And that's how I feel. That's my opinions. If you guys have a problem with it, again, you guys can block me.